My husband, Jeremy, was my soulmate. He was the love of my life. We were together for 19 years, and we had faced family opposition and societal judgment to be together. And we were a team when we were together. We didn't need anyone else. When you hear the word cancer, you don't think that it will touch your life. That happens to somebody else. But cancer not only touched my life, it devastated my life. When my husband, Jeremy, and my father, Ashok, both died from cancer only 18 months apart. I sat with Jeremy on his deathbed. I held his hand. I urged him to let go. His body was ravaged by cancer, and his soul didn't need it anymore. Inside, my heart was breaking. But outside, I was calm. Until he took his last breath. And in that moment, the moment he died, a part of me died too. In that moment, I went from being his wife to being his widow. And in that moment, all our dreams, all our plans, and all our promises for a happy future died too. It was a curveball that hit me squarely between the eyes. For the next 12 months, I turned to destructive coping methods. Alcohol and substance abuse, comfort eating, watching endless hours of rubbish television, shunning friends and family. I became a recluse. And I waited for death to take me. No, I didn't wait. I planned for death to take me. I tried to get death to take me. But it wasn't my time. And I had to live through that tumultuous, dark time on my own. I've never known loneliness like that. The loneliness in those 12 months was crippling in its strength. It was frightening in its relentlessness. A year after Jeremy died, I started writing my memoir, Always With You, a true story of love, loss, and hope. And writing that was a really cathartic process because it helped me come to terms with everything I had been through until that time in my life. Our passionate love story. My estrangement from my family because they didn't accept Jeremy. My depression, his cancer diagnosis. His death, my bereavement. Then my father died. Only 18 months later. And I was standing at his funeral in front of 500 people talking. And I suddenly realized that I wanted to live again. Here were these two men who had fought cancer to live, and they had fought it with fortitude and humility and grace. And I had life, I had health, and I was just throwing it away. So I decided to be happy again. But I'd forgotten how to be happy. So I did what every crazy, lonely 40-something-year-old woman does. I started online dating. I was looking for happiness. I was looking for happiness in a man. Because Jeremy had given me happiness, right? So surely a man could give me happiness too. I mean, how hard can this be? Very hard, as it happens. So those of you who know me, you'll know that once I decide to do something, I throw myself into it. It becomes like a project, and online dating became that project. I lost weight. I got fit. I got a whole new wardrobe. And then I subscribed to 6 dating sites. Yes, 6 dating sites. And in 7 months, I spoke to over 50 men, and I dated 21 of them. I was a prolific dater. There was this one week where I dated 5 men in that 1 week. And there was one Saturday where I had lunch with one guy and I had to run for the train to get to the next destination for my date with another guy. It was exhausting, but fun. I haven't told many people this, but I had a little book that I used to write notes in because I had to remember their names, where I met them, how old they were, what I wore to each date, right? Because you should never wear the same thing to a date twice. I gave them nicknames. There was Ankle Socks, this really sweet 50-something-year-old, very well-read, well-traveled, earned well, cooked really well. And he was very attentive. But one hot summer's day, we were sitting outside in the garden, drinking some Prosecco, and we were getting a little bit passionate. And suddenly I just looked down and I saw that he was still wearing his ankle socks. I can't tell you, it was such a turn-off. Needless to say, I never had another date with him. I know, it was shallow, but hey. And then there was the unreliable fish. He was actually one of the first guys I dated. Unreliable because he cancelled on me 4 times. And I let him, because I was new to this dating game. I didn't know. Anyway, he turned up on the date eventually, and he looked nothing like his profile photos. They were at least taken 10 years ago, right? And he hadn't aged particularly well, but I gave him a chance anyway. I know, I'm sorry. I really hope he never watches this, but he doesn't know, right? He doesn't know he's... And anyway, he was quite nice, and I thought, okay, we kind of gelled. You're wondering why fish, right? So he came in for a kiss, and as he kissed me, all I could think about was, this is what it feels like, must feel like, to kiss a fish. Needless to say, that never went very far. But there were some nice guys, right? There was my Italian stallion, and there was the pizza guy. He didn't deliver pizzas. He just used to come over for some fun and pizza. And then I fell for a younger guy. I'll call him the affectionate introvert because he was quiet, he was caring, he was fun to be with. And one day we were having coffee in a restaurant, and he just said to me, I can't give you what you want, you're too clingy. And he stood up, and he literally just walked out of my life. And I was really sad. And then I got really angry. How dare any man treat me like that? And I turned that anger into constructive energy. And in 1 week, I wrote my second book, Online Dating at 40, The Knobheads, Nut Jobs, and Nice Guys. So to know more about some of these guys, you're going to have to read my book. But as I was finishing this book, and just as it was about to be published, I realized that looking for happiness in another person is a futile endeavor. You have to find happiness within. And I don't mean that happiness that you get when you go buy a pair of shoes, that fleeting happiness. Hey, I know what that's like. I have a lot of shoes. But I'm talking about that inner, deep contentment that only you can create. I know this to be true. Life is short and fragile. And we must choose what makes us happy. We owe it to all those who've gone before us, and we owe it to ourselves to live life fully, compassionately, and to make a difference, no matter how small. So I decided to cultivate happiness, compassion, and resilience in my life. And I created 10 techniques that I teach in my third book, Happiness, is it simply a mindset shift? I turned to my teachings as a dance instructor and a mindfulness and meditation teacher to nurture my mind, my body, and my spirit. I looked at gratitude and compassion and altruism, and I set up the Jeremy Lucas Education Fund, which is a fund that sponsors children in northern Kenya through secondary and tertiary education. Today, with money that Jeremy left and with money that is raised through fundraising, we support 16 children from Samburu and Isiolo counties. It is a legacy that I know Jeremy would be very proud of because he loved Kenya and we had planned to come and live here. When Jeremy died, the most fearful thing that could happen in my life happened. He died. And after that, nothing could be more fearful. So I decided I was going to live life with no regrets of the past and no fears of the future. I was going to live life now, and I was going to have fun. So I decided to learn to ride a motorbike. Now, I'm really short, despite the heels. That's really hard for a short girl. I consolidated my very successful business in the UK. I gave away 3/4 of my stuff. It's stuff. I didn't need it. I packed up the little that I wanted to keep that was precious to me and to Jeremy. I rented my house out. I went to London and I stayed there for 3 months because I wanted to experience the buzz and excitement of city life, having lived in the countryside for 23 years. I went to Sri Lanka and I drove a tuk-tuk round the island for 2 weeks, just because I could. And then I came to Kenya. And I was spending time with friends and family here, reconnecting. And I spent some time in Nanyuki, where I have built a cabin in Jeremy's honor and where his ashes are buried. And then in March, I decided I would go back to the UK and start a 3-month tour of Europe, driving on my own around Europe, with a stopover in Tuscany in Italy for 1 month, where I was going to work on a vineyard, and I was going to drink a lot of Italian wine, and I was going to meet some gorgeous Italian men, and I was going to learn Italian, the language of love. And then another curveball came my way. Actually, it came to us all. COVID-19 happened. And suddenly I found I was stuck here in Kenya. All my plans had vanished, had been taken away from me again. But this time, instead of thinking of being stuck, I felt like this was what was meant to be. When I left the UK, I had said that I would listen a lot more deeply. I would sit in silence, and I would listen to where the universe was going to take me. So I didn't have many plans except for Tuscany. Otherwise, I was just going to go where the universe was going to take me. Sometimes we hold on so tight that we don't just let our destiny happen. Imagine going to the beach and you pick up a handful of sand. You've got this wonderful amount of sand in your hand, and then you cup it, right? And you start grasping the sand. And all that happens is the sand falls from the side. And the more you grasp, the more sand you lose. Whereas if you just opened your hand, you would be able to hold on to that sand, if you just let go. And that's what life is. Sometimes you have to plan, you have to work hard, you have to dream, but then you just let go and you let the universe do its magic. Yes, this curveball came, but it didn't knock me down. And that's just it, right? In your life, you will get so many curveballs, so many challenges, and you have to decide what happens when they knock you down. Do you stay down? Do you remain defeated? Or do you stand up and accept that these are going to be the greatest teachers of your life? Because From pain will come positivity. From vulnerability will come great courage. And from those wounds that are inflicted on you will come amazing wisdom. I want to leave you with one more thought. And I hope you'll turn to this next time you need strength when you are faced with life's many challenges. Life is hard, but it is also so beautiful. I promise you this. You will fall, but you will rise again. You will fail, but you will learn from that failure. You will cry, but you will laugh too. You will love, and you will grow, and you will live. Because this is life, full of curveballs, but truly, truly beautiful. Thank you.